Do you know, a single thought, just one tiny idea, has the power to change the entire direction of your life. When thoughts change, destiny changes. But if your thoughts remain chained, your future is imprisoned too. This book is not ordinary advice. It is the master key to the hidden door of your mind, behind which your true future is waiting. Whether you realize it or not, every single day your thoughts are silently drawing the blueprint of your destiny. The real question is, do you want a future designed by your own hands or one forced upon you by circumstances? This is where the journey begins, a journey that will pull you out of the limits of your current thinking and lead you to the reality where you consciously design the life you truly want. If you have opened this book, it is not by accident. It is the very moment that can change everything.
Chapter 1. The Power of Your Mind. The greatest power you carry is not outside of you. It is within your own mind. Every thought you think is like a seed planted in the soil of your life. Over time, those seeds grow and shape the reality you live in. This is why the quality of your thoughts matters more than most people realize. The world you see around you is not just a result of circumstances. It is largely a reflection of the patterns you have allowed to dominate your mind. When you understand the true power of your thoughts, you realize that you are not a passive traveler in life. You are the driver steering your own future. Every great invention, every achievement, every transformation that has ever happened in the world first began as a simple thought. Before a building was constructed, it existed in someone's imagination. Before a breakthrough was made, it lived as an idea in the mind of a thinker. Before change took place in society, it was first a vision carried by someone who dared to think differently. This shows that thought is always the origin of creation. When you think of your own life, you will notice the same pattern. Before you made a decision, you first entertained the thought of it. Before you achieved something meaningful, you had already imagined it in your mind. Your future is therefore not something waiting far ahead. It is being designed in the privacy of your thoughts right now. But this truth cuts both ways. Just as positive, empowering thoughts can open doors, negative and limiting thoughts can close them. A positive thought has the power to give you energy, to encourage you to try and to make challenges appear smaller than they are. A negative thought, on the other hand, drains you before you even begin. It magnifies obstacles, makes you doubt yourself, and convinces you to give up early. Think of two people standing at the edge of an opportunity. One tells themselves, "I can do this, I will learn along the way," and steps forward. The other tells themselves, "I am not ready, I will probably fail," and steps back. Their futures will be drastically different, not because of external circumstances, but because of the thoughts they chose to believe. Your thoughts either push you toward growth or pull you into stagnation. There is no middle ground. Psychology and neuroscience have also confirmed what ancient wisdom has always taught. The brain is shaped by the thoughts you repeatedly feed it. The concept of neuroplasticity proves that your brain is not fixed, it is moldable. When you think in a certain way repeatedly, the brain strengthens the pathways connected to that thought, making it easier for you to think the same way again. That means your thought patterns become habits, and habits eventually become your character. If you spend most of your time focusing on doubt, fear, and negativity, your brain becomes wired to think that way, making it natural for you to expect the worst. On the other hand, if you focus on confidence, hope, and solutions, your brain strengthens those circuits, and it becomes natural for you to see opportunities. You literally train your brain by the quality of thoughts you allow. Another fascinating aspect of the mind is the subconscious. While your conscious thoughts are the ones you are aware of, your subconscious is like the deeper layer of your mind that stores beliefs, experiences, and patterns. It quietly influences most of your decisions without you even realizing it. The subconscious mind responds strongly to repeated thoughts and emotions. When you constantly think in a certain direction, your subconscious accepts it as truth and begins to act on it. This is why affirmations, visualization, and consistent mental focus are powerful tools. They are ways of reprogramming your subconscious to support the life you want instead of holding you back with old limitations. In other words, when you change your thoughts at the conscious level, you slowly reshape the foundation of your subconscious, and that shift creates long-term transformation. Real life is full of silent examples of this principle at work. Consider someone who grew up being told they are not good enough. That message, repeated again and again, turns into a thought pattern, "I cannot achieve much." As they grow, this thought becomes a belief, and the belief influences every decision they make. They avoid risks, they settle for less, and they live far below their potential. On the other hand, think of someone who chooses to believe, "I can create a better life. I can learn. I can grow." This thought motivates them to try, to work hard, and to persist. Over time, their actions lead to progress, and the progress strengthens the original thought. In both cases, the future is shaped by the seed of a thought planted long ago. The difference lies only in what was planted, limitation or possibility. This is why it is essential to take responsibility for your mental environment. Your mind is like a garden. If you do not intentionally plant good seeds, weeds will grow by default. Negative influences, discouraging words, and fearful ideas are everywhere, but you have the power to decide what you let take root. Becoming aware of your inner dialogue is the first step. Notice what you repeatedly say to yourself in silence. Do you encourage yourself or criticize yourself? Do you see problems or possibilities? Once you notice, begin to consciously replace limiting thoughts with empowering ones. This does not mean ignoring reality, but it means interpreting reality in a way that strengthens you instead of weakening you. For example, instead of saying, "This is impossible," you can train yourself to say, "This is difficult, but there is a way." That small shift in thought changes the energy with which you approach the situation, and that energy changes the result. The practical application of this is simple but powerful. Each day, give your mind something positive to focus on. Begin your morning with thoughts of gratitude and possibilities rather than fear and complaint. Write down affirmations that remind you of your strength and potential. Take a few minutes to visualize the future you want to build. Pay attention to your self-talk and consciously adjust it when it drifts into negativity. Feed your mind with uplifting books, conversations, and environments. Just as the body grows strong with healthy food, the mind grows strong with healthy thoughts. Every input you allow into your mind either strengthens or weakens your future. The power of your mind lies in its ability to create direction. You may not control every circumstance in your life, but you always control your response to it. That response is born out of your thoughts. Two people can face the same challenge. One sees defeat, the other sees a lesson. The challenge is the same, but the outcomes are different, because thoughts shaped the perception, and perception shaped the action. This is why you must guard your thoughts as carefully as you would guard your most valuable treasure. They are more than ideas, they are architects of your future. The truth is simple. Your life moves in the direction of your dominant thoughts. If you want to change your future, begin by changing what you repeatedly think today. Stop giving power to thoughts that weaken you, and start feeding the thoughts that strengthen you. Every great journey begins in the mind, long before it appears in the world. Your mind holds the pen, and with every thought, you write the sentences of your tomorrow. Choose wisely, because your thoughts are not just reflections of who you are, they are the blueprint of who you will become.
Chapter 2. Breaking free from negative thinking. Negative thinking is like carrying a hidden weight that nobody else can see, but you feel every single day. It shows up when you wake up in the morning already doubting if the day will go well. It shows up when you hold back from sharing your ideas because you fear judgment. It shows up when you compare your progress with others and suddenly feel like you are behind in life. These thoughts might look small in the moment, but when repeated daily, they slowly build a cage around your mind. The worst part is that you may not even notice how tightly this cage is closing in until you realize you are no longer moving forward. Freedom begins the moment you recognize that these thoughts are not facts, they are choices. And once you choose differently, you begin to break the pattern. Doubt is often the first chain that binds people. It whispers, "You are not ready," or "You might fail," until you begin to believe it. The problem with doubt is not that it questions your ability, but that it convinces you not to even try. It kills potential before it has a chance to grow. Fear is another heavy chain, one that magnifies the possibility of failure while minimizing the chance of success. Fear convinces you to stay safe, to avoid risk, and to settle for less than you are capable of. Then comes overthinking, the habit of analyzing every possibility until you are paralyzed and take no action at all. Finally, comparison steals your peace by constantly making you feel behind or inadequate compared to others. Together, these four chains create a cycle where your thoughts weaken your actions, and your weak actions reinforce your negative thoughts. The cycle repeats until it becomes your reality. But here is the truth. Your past failures, disappointments, or mistakes do not define who you are today. They only define you if you keep dragging them into your present. Many people live as prisoners of their past. They replay old memories in their minds, reminding themselves of what went wrong and convincing themselves it will always be the same. This mindset keeps them stuck, unable to move forward because they keep looking backward. But your past is not a life sentence, it is a lesson. Every failure can teach you, but only if you allow it to guide you instead of govern you. The moment you realize that yesterday's mistakes have no power to control today's choices, you begin to free yourself. Negative thinking is dangerous because they are often silent. You may not even notice how much they influence your daily choices. For example, when you think, "I will never be good enough," you might avoid applying for an opportunity. When you think, "People will judge me," you may stay quiet instead of sharing your ideas. When you think, "I always fail," you may not even begin a project you secretly want to pursue. None of these decisions look dramatic in the moment, but over time they add up, leading you down a path that feels smaller and smaller. The future does not collapse overnight. It is shaped by 1,000 small choices, and those choices are shaped by the silent thoughts running through your mind. This is why breaking free from negativity is not optional. It is necessary if you want to live the life you are capable of. The good news is that your mind can be trained. Negative thinking may feel automatic now, but with practical strategies, you can begin to take back control. One powerful exercise is the self-talk check. Throughout your day, pay attention to the way you speak to yourself in your own mind. Are you criticizing yourself more than encouraging yourself? Are you predicting failure more than imagining success? Every time you catch a negative statement like, "I can't do this," stop and replace it with a stronger alternative, such as, "I am learning and I can grow into this." It may feel unnatural at first, but over time, your brain begins to accept the new dialogue. Just as repeated negativity creates negative beliefs, repeated positive self-talk creates empowering beliefs. Journaling is another tool to break free from negativity. When negative thoughts stay in your head, they swirl around endlessly, making them seem bigger than they are. But when you write them down, you see them clearly for what they are, just thoughts, not facts. By journaling, you can challenge these thoughts, question their truth, and replace them with healthier perspectives. For instance, if you write, "I always fail," you can challenge it by listing moments where you succeeded, no matter how small. This process reminds your mind that failure is not your identity, it is only an event, and events can change. Journaling also helps you track patterns. Over time, you begin to notice which situations trigger your negativity, and with awareness comes the power to change. Replacing negative patterns with positive ones requires consistency. One effective method is to practice thought substitution. Whenever a negative thought appears, do not fight it or dwell on it. Substitute it. If your mind says, "I am not capable," immediately respond with, "I am learning and improving every day." If your mind says, "This is too hard," replace it with, "This is a challenge, but I can grow stronger through it." At first, this feels forced, but remember, your brain is always listening. The more you repeat these substitutions, the more natural they become. Over time, they rewire your subconscious, making positivity your default mode instead of negativity. For deeper transformation, you need a system of mental detox. Just as your body needs cleansing from unhealthy food or toxins, your mind needs cleansing from unhealthy inputs. Pay attention to what you consume daily. The news you watch, the conversations you engage in, the social media you scroll through, all of these shape your thoughts. If your daily intake is filled with negativity, criticism, and fear, your mind will naturally reflect that. A mental detox means deliberately reducing exposure to negativity and increasing exposure to positivity. Limit the time you spend with voices that drain your energy and increase time with voices that uplift it. Replace aimless scrolling with reading something that inspires growth. Start your mornings with gratitude instead of complaints. Small changes like these gradually cleanse your mental environment and create space for healthier thoughts to grow. Breaking free from negativity does not mean you will never have a negative thought again. The goal is not to eliminate negativity completely, because that is impossible. The goal is to build enough awareness and strength that negative thoughts no longer control you. Instead of being dragged down by them, you learn to rise above them. Instead of letting them paralyze you, you use them as signals to redirect your focus. Over time, your mind becomes lighter, your choices become braver, and your life becomes fuller. Remember this: negative thinking is not who you are. It is only a habit you have practiced, and like any habit, it can be unlearned and replaced. The future you dream of cannot grow in the soil of constant negativity. It requires the sunlight of positive, empowering thoughts. Every time you choose to break a chain of doubt, fear, overthinking, or comparison, you take one more step toward freedom. Freedom not just to feel better, but to live better, to create better, and to shape a future worthy of your potential. Chapter 3: The Blueprint of Success Thinking. Every great achievement begins in the mind, long before it becomes visible in the world. Success is not an accident or a stroke of luck. It is the result of a clear mindset, intentional thought patterns, and consistent actions that follow. People often wonder why some individuals seem to rise above challenges and create extraordinary results, while others remain stuck. The answer lies in the blueprint of their thinking. The mind acts like an architect, drawing the design of the life you eventually build. If the blueprint is small, limited, and full of doubts, the structure of your life will reflect that. But if the blueprint is bold, expansive, and filled with belief, the life you construct will also reflect that greatness. A success mindset is not something you were born with. It is something you can build. It begins with a simple but powerful decision: to believe that growth is possible. Many people hold themselves back because they think success is reserved for a chosen few. But the truth is, success is built on patterns anyone can practice. When you choose to train your mind to see opportunities instead of obstacles, to focus on solutions instead of problems, you begin to activate the foundation of success thinking. This mindset shifts your energy from waiting for chances to creating them. It teaches you that challenges are not signs to quit, but signals to grow stronger. One of the most powerful tools for building this mindset is visualization. The mind cannot easily distinguish between imagination and reality, which is why what you consistently picture in your thoughts shapes how you act in your life. When you close your eyes and vividly imagine yourself achieving your goals, feeling the emotions, seeing the details, experiencing the success, you are programming your subconscious to believe it is possible. This belief influences your daily actions in subtle but powerful ways. For example, a person who consistently visualizes confidence will naturally begin to carry themselves with confidence in real life. A person who imagines progress daily will begin to take steps that align with that image. Visualization is not daydreaming, it is mental rehearsal. Athletes, performers, leaders, and creators across time have used this tool to prepare their minds for success before it ever appeared in reality. Along with visualization, imagination plays a vital role. Imagination is the ability to see beyond what exists right now. Without it, human progress would be impossible. Everything you see around you, from technology to art to businesses, was once an idea in someone's imagination. The power of imagination is that it allows you to go beyond your current circumstances and picture a future where you are stronger, wiser, and more successful. When you feed your imagination with positive possibilities, you open the door to innovation and creativity. Instead of repeating old patterns, you create new ones. Instead of being trapped by what is, you become guided by what could be. Success thinking also requires building daily rituals. Your mind is shaped not by what you occasionally think, but by what you consistently think. That consistency comes from habits and rituals that strengthen your mindset every single day. For example, beginning your day with gratitude shifts your focus from scarcity to abundance. Reviewing your goals daily keeps your vision alive and sharp. Practicing affirmations rewires your subconscious with empowering beliefs. Taking even a few minutes for meditation or reflection helps you clear mental noise and strengthen focus. These rituals may seem small, but over time, they compound into powerful shifts. Just as daily exercise builds a stronger body, daily thought rituals build a stronger mind. Underlying all of this is the choice between two types of mindset, a growth mindset or a fixed mindset. A fixed mindset believes that abilities, intelligence, and potential are limited and unchangeable. People with this mindset often avoid challenges, fear failure, and settle for less. On the other hand, a growth mindset sees abilities as something that can be developed through effort, learning, and persistence. With a growth mindset, challenges are opportunities, failures are lessons, and effort is the path to mastery. This one shift in thinking can completely transform your trajectory. Where others see walls, a growth mindset sees doors. Where others see endings, a growth mindset sees beginnings. Universal success patterns across history show that strong thinking always comes before strong results. While circumstances differ, the principles remain the same: clarity of vision, belief in possibilities, resilience in setbacks, and consistency in action. Those who train their minds to think expansively often achieve expansively. Those who let their thoughts remain small often live small. The blueprint of success is not written in chance, it is written in choice. Every day, through your thoughts, you are choosing whether to strengthen the foundation of your success or weaken it. Success is not about avoiding failure, but about thinking in a way that allows you to rise after failure. It is not about luck, but about preparing your mind to recognize and seize opportunities. It is not about having everything figured out from the start, but about believing you can learn and grow along the way. The blueprint of success thinking is simple yet powerful. Believe in growth, visualize the future, imagine possibilities, practice daily rituals, and cultivate a growth mindset. When you consistently apply this blueprint, you begin to notice changes not just in your results, but in your identity. You no longer see yourself as a passive passenger in life, but as the architect of your own future. You realize that your mind is not a cage, but a workshop, and every day you can design thoughts that create freedom, progress, and fulfillment. The truth is, your thoughts will build something, either walls of limitation or doors of opportunity. The question is, which blueprint will you choose? Chapter 4. Aligning Thoughts with Actions. Thinking is the seed, but action is the harvest. A person can spend years building castles in the air, imagining success, dreaming about a brighter future, and visualizing a better version of themselves. But unless those thoughts translate into concrete steps, nothing changes. This is the great misunderstanding most people fall into. They mistake thinking for doing. They believe that simply holding positive thoughts is enough. But thoughts without actions are like plans without execution. They remain incomplete. True transformation happens only when the energy of thought flows into the discipline of action. Every action we take begins in the mind. The way you think about yourself shapes the way you act. If your inner dialogue says, "I am weak, I cannot achieve this," your actions will mirror that belief by being hesitant and inconsistent. If your mind says, "I am capable, I can try," your body responds with movement, effort, and persistence. This is why aligning thoughts with actions is the foundation of all progress. Without this alignment, even the most powerful ideas lose their power. With it, even the simplest idea can change your life. Decision-making plays a key role in this alignment. Every day you make hundreds of small and big decisions, from what time to wake up, what to eat, how to use your hours, and where to put your energy. Each decision is a reflection of your dominant thoughts. If your thoughts are scattered, your decisions will be scattered. If your thoughts are clear, your decisions will follow a clear path. Consistency in decision-making is where the difference between dreamers and doers appears. Dreamers decide based on moods, while doers decide based on values. When your thoughts are aligned with the person you want to become, your decisions stop being random and start becoming intentional. Consistency is another bridge between thought and action. Anyone can take action once, but only those who act repeatedly, day after day, build lasting results. Think about someone who wants to get fit. They may think about health every day. They may even start exercising for a week, but if they quit after 10 days, the results vanish. On the other hand, the person who continues to act consistently, even in small amounts, eventually transforms their body. The difference is not knowledge, not even motivation. It is the alignment of consistent action with consistent thinking. The mind says health matters, and the body follows through, again and again. Habits are essentially thoughts in motion. A habit is nothing more than a thought you chose so often that it became automatic. When you brush your teeth, tie your shoes, or check your phone, you are acting on thoughts that have been repeated so many times they now run on autopilot. This is why habits are powerful. They prove that repeated thoughts create repeated actions. The key, then, is to build habits that reflect the kind of life you want. If you think growth, your habits must mirror growth. Reading, learning, practicing gratitude, exercising, saving money. These are habits that flow from thoughts of progress. On the other hand, if your habits are rooted in procrastination, negativity, or self-doubt, your actions will keep you stuck in the same cycle. Aligning thoughts with actions means deliberately building habits that embody the future you want. Self-discipline is the tool that holds this alignment together. Discipline means acting according to your values, not your moods. Your thoughts may say, "I want success," but when your body feels lazy or distracted, discipline ensures that you act in harmony with that thought instead of betraying it. Discipline is not about punishment, it is about alignment. When you choose to work instead of procrastinate, to save instead of waste, to practice instead of quit, you are practicing discipline. In every moment you choose discipline, you are proving that your thoughts are not empty promises, they are guiding principles shaping your life. Focus is equally important. A scattered mind leads to scattered actions. When your thoughts jump from one goal to another, your actions follow the same chaos. But when you focus your thoughts, your actions concentrate, and concentrated actions multiply results. Think of sunlight scattered across a room. It warms but does not burn. But when that same sunlight is focused through a magnifying glass, it becomes powerful enough to ignite fire. The same principle applies to your life. Scattered thoughts produce weak actions. Focused thoughts produce transformative actions. Consider a simple scenario. A person dreams of writing a book. In their mind, they imagine readers, success, and the pride of holding their creation. But every time they sit down to write, they get distracted, they postpone, or they convince themselves it is not the right time. Years pass, and the book remains only a thought. Another person, with the same dream, chooses to act differently. They decide, "I will write for 30 minutes every day, no matter what." Their thoughts are aligned with their daily discipline. At first, progress is slow, just a few pages. But as days turn into weeks, chapters appear. Over time, their book is finished. Both people had the same thought. The difference was not inspiration, it was action. Another example can be seen in health. One person constantly thinks, "I should eat better, I should exercise," but never changes their daily choices. Their thoughts remain locked in their mind, disconnected from their habits. Another person thinks the same thought, but aligns it with daily action. They choose water over soda, a walk over scrolling on their phone, sleep over late-night distractions. Over time, the difference between the two people becomes visible. Thoughts plus action create transformation. Thoughts without action create regret. Even in finances, the same principle applies. Someone may think constantly about becoming financially stable, but if they keep spending recklessly, their actions betray their thoughts. Another person with the same desire aligns their actions by saving a small percentage of income, learning about investments, and controlling impulses. Their consistent alignment builds security over time. The difference again lies not in what they thought, but in what they did with that thought. Aligning thoughts with actions does not mean you will never feel resistance. Resistance is natural. The gap between thought and action often feels heavy, like a weight pressing down on you. You think about exercising, but your body feels tired. You think about working on your project, but distractions call for your attention. In these moments, remember, action doesn't have to be massive, it just has to begin. A single step reduces the weight. Once you act, momentum builds, and your thoughts gain strength from the proof of action. The secret is to create systems that make alignment easier. For example, if your thought is to read more, place a book where you can see it daily. If your thought is to eat healthy, prepare your meals in advance. If your thought is to save money, automate the transfer before you spend. Systems connect thought to action by reducing friction. Without systems, your actions depend on willpower alone, which fades. With systems, your environment supports your goals, making alignment natural instead of forced. At the core of all progress is this simple truth. Your life is shaped not by the thoughts you think, but by the thoughts you act on. Every dream, every goal, every desire remains a shadow until it is given form through action. The gap between who you are and who you want to be is bridged by the actions you take daily. When your thoughts and actions align, you create harmony. That harmony leads to momentum, and momentum leads to results. So ask yourself, are your current actions in harmony with your deepest thoughts? Do your habits reflect the person you want to become? Does your discipline prove your dreams? Because in the end, life does not reward the dreamers who only think. It rewards the doers who act in alignment with their thoughts. Every time you align, you turn imagination into reality, potential into performance, and hope into achievement. The choice is always in your hands. Think wisely, act boldly, and let your life become the living proof of aligned thought and action.
Chapter 5. Designing Your Future with Intention. Most people live life on autopilot. They wake up, follow routines, deal with problems, and let circumstances decide where they end up. But the truth is simple and powerful. Your future doesn't just happen to you. It is designed by you. If you don't consciously design it, someone else's plans, society's patterns, or random events will shape it for you. Living intentionally means realizing that you hold the pen to write your own story. You are not just a passenger on the journey of life. You are the architect, the planner, the designer of your destiny. The first step in designing your future is accepting this responsibility fully. No excuses, no blaming, no waiting. Your mind works like an architect's blueprint. Just like an architect doesn't build a house randomly, but first creates a clear design, you also need a vision before you act. Without that vision, your actions remain scattered, unfocused, and weak. Imagine starting construction without a map. The walls will never align, the rooms won't fit together, and the building will collapse. In the same way, if you live without a clear picture of your future, your daily choices will clash, and life will feel like a series of accidents instead of achievements. Designing your future with intention means asking yourself, what kind of life do I truly want? What kind of person do I want to become? What experiences, growth, and contributions do I want my future to hold? Once you start asking these questions, clarity begins to unfold. But clarity alone is not enough. Thoughts are like raw sketches. They only become powerful when they transform into beliefs. A thought says, I wish this could happen. But a belief says, this is possible and I will make it happen. That's the first major step in the chain, thought turning into belief. Without belief, thoughts remain empty wishes. With belief, however, they become seeds planted firmly in fertile soil. Once belief takes root, the natural next step is action. And this is where intentional living becomes visible. Every action, no matter how small, is either moving you toward your designed future or away from it. That's why the equation is simple: thought to belief to action to destiny. If your thoughts are weak, your beliefs are shaky. If your beliefs are shaky, your actions are inconsistent. And inconsistent actions never produce a strong destiny. But when your thoughts are clear, your beliefs are strong, and your actions are aligned, destiny itself bends in your favor. Designing your future also requires brutal honesty with yourself. Most people claim they want success, happiness, or peace, but their daily thoughts and actions reflect the opposite. They say they want to be healthy, but think thoughts of laziness and eat without discipline. They say they want financial freedom, but spend recklessly and avoid learning about money.
They say they want confidence, but feed themselves negative self-talk. Your future can only reflect what your present self consistently does. That is why aligning your goals with your mindset is crucial. If you want a strong future, you must become the kind of person today whose thoughts, beliefs, and actions are in harmony with that future. One practical way to start is to define your goals with precision. Vague dreams produce vague results. Instead of saying, "I want success," be clear about what success means to you. Instead of saying, "I want happiness," define what happiness looks like in your life. Is it freedom of time, strong relationships, financial security, or personal growth? Once defined, visualize that future regularly. Visualization is not just imagination, it is training your subconscious mind to recognize possibilities and opportunities that align with your design. It keeps you alert and focused. Every time you visualize, your mind becomes more familiar with the future you're designing, and it begins to guide your actions naturally in that direction. But visualization must be backed with strategy. For example, if you design a future where you are financially independent, then you need to create a system of saving, investing, and skill building. If you design a future of physical health, you must create routines of exercise, nutrition, and rest. If you design a future of personal growth, you must read, learn, and challenge yourself daily. Each goal requires not only a vision, but a system of action steps. Think of it like designing a building. You don't just draw the outside look, you also plan the foundation, wiring, plumbing, and structure. Without systems, dreams collapse. With systems, dreams stand firm. Another key element of intentional living is consistency. A future is not designed by one big action, by small, repeated actions. Writing 1 page a day creates a book. Saving a small amount daily creates wealth. Practicing a new skill for just 20 minutes a day builds mastery. Your destiny doesn't depend on rare bursts of inspiration, but on consistent action fueled by intentional thoughts. That's why discipline is called the bridge between dreams and reality. Without it, even the best designed future remains a sketch on paper. Let's look at simple scenarios. Imagine a person who thinks daily, "I want to live a peaceful life," but their daily actions include arguing unnecessarily, scrolling endlessly on social media, and avoiding responsibilities. That design leads to chaos, not peace. On the other hand, imagine a person who thinks, "I want to live peacefully," and then practices gratitude, simplifies their lifestyle, avoids toxic interactions, and builds routines that support calmness. Their actions match their design, and slowly their future unfolds exactly as intended. The difference is not luck, it is intentional thinking backed by aligned action. Designing your future also requires preparing for setbacks. Life will not always follow your plan perfectly, but intentional people adapt instead of giving up. If something doesn't work, they redesign, adjust, and move forward. Just as architects sometimes change building structures midway when challenges appear, you too must adjust your design without abandoning your vision. Flexibility is not weakness, it is wisdom. It keeps you moving while still staying true to the bigger picture. In the end, the most powerful truth is this: your future is already inside your thoughts. Every belief you hold, every action you repeat, and every choice you make is writing tomorrow's story. You don't need to wait for miracles. You are the miracle. All you need to do is take control of your inner architect, create a clear design, and build your future with consistent actions. Do not leave your future to chance. Do not let random events decide your life. Instead, claim your role as the designer, the creator, and the shaper of your destiny. So whenever you ask yourself what your life will look like 5 or 10 years from now, remember this: the blueprint is already in your hands. Thought becomes belief, belief becomes action, and action becomes destiny. Give your thoughts the right direction, strengthen your beliefs with conviction, and take actions with consistency. Your future is not waiting outside you. It is waiting inside your mind, ready to take shape. The question is, will you design it with intention, or will you let it be designed by default?
Conclusion. Your journey through your thoughts shape your future may feel like the last page, but in truth, it is only the beginning. You have unlocked the door of your own mind, and now you stand at the edge of unlimited possibilities. The question is not, can you do it? The question is, will you choose to? Every chapter you have read was not just ink on paper. It was a mirror, showing you the power already hidden inside you. You now know that your future is not an accident waiting to happen, but a design waiting to be built by you through the thoughts you choose and the actions you take. But remember this, transformation is not a one-time event. It is a lifelong journey. If this book has lit even a single spark inside you, then guard it, feed it, and let it grow into a fire that lights your path forward. And as you close this book, let me leave you with one final truth. Your thoughts are your greatest weapon, your greatest shield, and your greatest treasure. Use them wisely, and they will create a life far greater than you ever imagined. This ending is not the end. It is the opening of the next chapter of your life. And if your heart still craves more, then the next book awaits you.